Hello, St. Peter's, and welcome to our first chapter book story time. So, for the students who are coming to school in the 3rd and 4th graders this year, I will be reading them chapter books for their story time. So if you are a virtual learner in 3rd and 4th grade, you will be getting exactly the same story that they are getting in school. Anyone can listen, everyone is invited to participate and hear the fun story that I have for you. Now, if you listen to all the chapters until the whole book is finished, you can even take an AR quiz on this book. It is a 4th grade level book, which means anyone in 3rd and 4th grade can take the AR quiz, okay? So our friends are still with us, even though it's a little bit of a different format. We have Ralph, Magic Monkey, our Pig of Joy, the jar is right here, and Daisy's over here ready to listen as well. So for this, a chapter book doesn't have quite as many pictures, so you can sit back and relax. You can watch the whole time, but if you just want to cozy up and listen to give your eyes a little break maybe from some screen time, if you've been doing a lot of classes and virtual learning on the computer, this would be a good opportunity for you just to sit back and listen and have a little bit of fun. So the book I'm going to read for 3rd and 4th grade, and anyone else who would like to listen, is called Clementine, and our author is Sara Pennypacker. That's kind of a fun name, isn't it? Sara Pennypacker. You can see this is Clementine. She's a spunky girl. She has red hair, and she's a little bit mischievous, which means sometimes she kind of finds herself into trouble because she's very curious. She does some things that maybe you would think twice about doing if it were you. I hope you don't do the things she does, but it's really fun to read about and it makes a very fun story. We're going to read the first 2 chapters today of Clementine. Now there are some pictures in the story, so when there's a picture, I will let you know by showing you the picture. Otherwise, you can just sit back, relax. I'm sitting on the carpet, actually, in the library, because this is just kind of like a cozy up, let's read together time. So before I start reading Clementine, I'm going to show you another up-close picture of Clementine. She's not looking very happy, is she? Let's find out. I have had not so good of a week. Well, Monday was a pretty good day, if you don't count hamburger surprise at lunch and Margaret's mother coming to get her, or the stuff that happened in the principal's office when I got sent there to explain that Margaret's hair was not my fault. And besides, she looks okay without it. Uh-oh, without it? What does that mean? But I couldn't tell Principal Rice because Principal Rice was gone, trying to calm down Margaret's mother. Someone should tell you not to answer the phone in the principal's office, if that's a rule. Okay, fine. Monday was not so good of a day, which is a surprise because it started off with 2 lucky signs which fooled me. First, there were exactly enough banana slices in my cereal, 1 for every spoonful. Then, as soon as I got to school, my teacher said, "The following students are excused from journal writing so they can go to the art room to work on their Welcome to the Future projects." And I was one of the following students. So instead of having to think up things to write in my journal, which I hate, I got to glue and paint stuff, which I love. Margaret was in the art room too. When I sat down next to her, she threw herself across the Princess from the Future mask she was gluing sparkles onto. Remember the rules, she warned. And here's a picture of Margaret protecting her mask. Margaret is in 4th grade, and I am in 3rd. She thinks that makes her the boss of me. I hate Margaret's rules. "You can't touch my stuff," she said, which she always says. "Why?" I said, which I always say. "Because it's the rule," Margaret said, which she always says. Why? I said. Because you can't touch my stuff, she said. And then I pointed out the window, which wasn't exactly lying because I didn't say there was something out there. While Margaret was looking out the window, I accidentally touched her mask. Twice, okay, fine. Then I got busy working on my project so I wouldn't have to hear any "Clementine, pay attention." Except I did anyway, which was unfair because each time I was the only person in the whole art room who was paying attention. And when it was my turn to pass around the stapler, I could tell everyone that the art teacher's scarf had an egg stain on it that looked, if you squinted, exactly like a pelican. Nobody else had noticed. "Clementine, you need to pay attention," the art teacher said one more time. And just like the other times, I was paying attention. I was paying attention to Margaret's empty seat. Margaret had been excused to go to the girls' room, and when she left, she had scrunched up "don't cry" eyes and a pressed down "don't cry" mouth. And she had been gone a really long time, even for Margaret, who washes her hands one finger at a time. "I need to go to the girls' room," I told my teacher. And that's where Margaret was, all right, curled up under the sink with her head on her knees. "Margaret," I gasped, "you're sitting on the floor." Margaret hitched herself over to the side a little so I could see she had placed a germ-protective layer of paper towels lying under her. "Still," I said, "what's the matter?" Margaret pressed her head down harder into her knees, which were all shiny with tears. She pointed up. Lying on the sink, next to a pair of "do not remove from the art room" scissors, was a chunk of straight brown hair. Uh-oh. "Come out, Margaret," I said. "Let me see." Margaret shook her head. "I'm not coming out until it's grown back." "Well, I think I see a germ crawling up your dress." Margaret jumped out from under the sink. She looked at herself in the mirror and began to cry again. "I got glue in my hair," she sobbed. "I was just trying to cut it out." Margaret's hair was halfway down her back long. It was hard not to notice that the whole part over her left ear was missing. Here's the picture of it. Look, she cut it all the way to her scalp. So it's very short, right over her left ear. Oh my goodness. No wonder why she's crying. "Maybe if we evened up a chunk over your right ear," I suggested. Margaret wiped her eyes dry and nodded. She handed me the scissors. I cut. We looked back in the mirror. So now she has this side cut short and this side cut short, but nothing else. "It's like bangs." I tried to cheer her up. Sort of. "Except bangs are in your front hair, not the sides," Margaret reminded me. Then she took a deep sigh, picked up the scissors, and cut off all the hair over her forehead. Now the front half of her hair was all chopped off, and the back half was long and straight and shiny. "Not so good," Margaret said, looking in the mirror. "Not so good," I agreed. We looked at her not so good hair in the mirror for a really, really long time without saying anything, which is very hard for me. Then Margaret's bottom lip began to shiver and her eyes filled up with tear balls again. She handed the scissors back to me, then she closed her eyes and turned around. "All of it?" I asked. "All of it." So I did, which is not exactly easy with those plastic art scissors, let me tell you. And just as I was finishing, the art teacher came in looking for us. "Clementine," she shouted, "what are you doing?" And then Margaret went all historical, and the art teacher went all historical, and nobody could think of anything to do except the regular thing, which is sending me to the principal's office. She said historical, even though she meant hysterical, because I think she got her words mixed up. While I was waiting there, I drew a picture of Margaret with her hair chopped off hair. I made her look beautiful, like a dandelion. Here is a picture of it. That doesn't look so great, does it? If they had a special class for gifted kids in art, I would definitely be in it. But they don't, which is also unfair, only for math and English. I am not so good at English, okay, fine. But this year I am in the gifted class for math. And here is the bad surprise. So far, no gifts. I told Principal Rice about that problem when he got back from calming down Margaret's mother. So far, no gifts, I told her, extremely politely. So if you were in a gifted class, it actually means you're really good at it, so you go to a more challenging level, but she thought she was going to get some gifts. Not so lucky. Principal Rice rolled her eyes to the ceiling then, like she was looking for something up there. Ceiling snakes, maybe, just waiting to drip on you. That's what I used to be afraid of when I was little anyway. Now I'm not afraid of anything. Okay, fine, I am afraid of pointy things and boomerangs, but that's all. Clementine, you need to pay attention, said Principal Rice. We need to discuss Margaret's hair. What are you doing on the floor? Helping you look for ceiling snakes, I reminded her. Ceiling snakes? What ceiling snakes? She asked. See what I mean? Me paying attention, everybody else not. I am amazed they let someone with this problem be the boss of the school. All right now, Clementine, Principal Rice said in her I'm trying to be patient, but it's getting harder voice. Why did you cut off Margaret's hair? I was helping, I said. And then I told Principal Rice about how I'd helped her, too. I answered the phone while you were gone. I ordered some new pets, school pets, and I told the gym teacher we are never going to play dodgeball again, and I made 2 appointments for you. The phone kept going dead, so I guess it's busted, but at least I helped you a little. That's what I thought. There is a look that they teach a person to make in principal school that is not very nice. And here is a picture of Principal Rice. She looks a little bit annoyed, would you say? Chapter 2. Margaret was waiting for me in the lobby of our apartment building when I got off the bus after school. I showed her my picture. Ah, she screamed, I look like a dandelion. That's how good of an artist I am. Everybody already knows what it is. Well, dandelions are beautiful. I pulled her into the elevator, which has a mirror on all sides, so she could see. Here they are, getting ready to go into the elevator. Margaret shook her head. For flowers, maybe, not for people's heads. Besides, dandelions are yellow, not brown. I look like a dead dandelion. Then she brightened up a little. Maybe that would help if my hair were yellow. Then she took a long I wish look at my hair in the mirror. Or red. And for the first time that day, I saw Margaret smile. I could do that for you, Margaret, I told her. Oh, sure, I could make your hair red just like mine. How? Margaret asked. I'd been so happy to see Margaret smile that I'd forgotten to figure out that part. But then a great idea popped into my head. I am lucky that way. Great ideas are always popping into my head without me having to think them up. My mother has some special markers for her work. They color over anything, and they stay there. Spinach got hold of one and drew all over the walls, and my parents couldn't get it off. They had to paint the room over. That's how permanent those markers are. Okay, fine, my brother's name is not really Spinach, but I got stuck with a name that's also a fruit, and it's not fair that he didn't. The only thing worse than a fruit name is a vegetable name, so that's what I think he should have. I have collected a lot of names for him. Spinach did that, Margaret said. The easy one? I squint-eyed her. The easy one? That's what my mother calls him. She says it's a good thing your parents got an easy one after you. The same thing in my family, but I'm the easy one. She says when there are 2 kids in a family, there's always an easy one and a hard one. I guess it's a rule. Oh yeah, I said. I knew that. But I didn't. Did anyone ever say that about your family? One of you's an easy one and one's a hard one? Think about it. Could be. So, how about those markers? Margaret reminded me. Okay, I said. If the easy one could use them, I guess the hard one could too. Let's go. And then we pressed B for basement and we rode down to my apartment. I ran into the kitchen and climbed up onto the counter and grabbed the box of markers from where my mother had hidden them and jumped down. Before I left, I yelled to my mother in the living room. Hi, Mom. Everything went great at school. I was really paying attention, and now I'm going to play with Margaret because everything's fine with Margaret. No problems. Bye. Just so she wouldn't worry. And then I ran back out to Margaret in the elevator. She looked through the box and pulled out a marker named Flaming Sunset. Then she took off the cap and held the marker up against my hair. Perfect, she said. Let's go up to my apartment. I'd forgotten about that part too. Is your mother still mad? I asked. Yep, but she took 3 aspirin and went back to work. Only my brother is home. So I said okay, and we rode the elevator up to Margaret's apartment, even though I don't like Margaret's room. One reason I don't like to go there is mascara. Mascara always hides under Margaret's bed and hisses because he hates everyone except Margaret. But sometimes I can see his tail or one paw, and then I feel too sad because it reminds me of my old cat, Polka Dotty, who died. Did you know Mascara was a cat? It is. Last year, Polka had 3 kittens in my bureau drawer, which luckily I always leave open. My parents let me name them. Since I have discovered that the most exquisite words in the world are on labels you will find in a bathroom, I carried the kittens into the bathroom and looked around until I found them beautiful names. Fluoride and Laxative went to live with people who answered the free kittens hurry ad my dad put in the paper, which was unfair to Polka because they were strangers. Then Margaret's mother said, "All right, Margaret, you can have a kitten as long as you take care of it yourself." And that was good because at least Mascara would be living with someone Polka knew. Except then Polka Dotty died. So now Margaret has a cat, that's just fine, and I don't. But the main reason I don't like to go to Margaret's room is that it makes me feel itchy. I feel itchy in Margaret's room because it looks like a magazine picture. Everything matches and everything is always exactly where it's supposed to be in straight lines. Plus, nothing in her room is broken. And it's all clean. Not a speck of dirt is allowed in her room. Actually, Margaret looks like a magazine picture too. Her hair is always combed. Well, it used to be. And her clothes always match. And I think she probably sleeps in her bathtub because I have never seen a single smudge of dirt on her. I like her anyway, but it's not always easy. Remember the rules, Margaret said at her bedroom door. While Margaret was looking under the bed for Mascara, I accidentally touched her lamp, which is a China poodle with an umbrella that Margaret calls a parasol because she's a show-off. Margaret turned around fast, but my hands jumped into my pockets even faster. All right, I said, let's get going with the coloring. This is called changing the subject. So here is what Margaret's room looks like. And there's Clementine touching the lamp. It does look very neat and tidy. Sure does. It is very hard to color hair with a marker, let me tell you. But I did. I colored all of Margaret's hair chunks Flaming Sunset. And then another really great idea popped into my head, and I drew Flaming Sunset curls all over her forehead and the back of her neck so her hair would look more like mine. It looked beautiful, like a giant tattoo of tangled up worms. When I am a grown-up, I will have hundreds of tattoos. Margaret looked in the mirror, and then she looked at my hair. Then she looked in the mirror again, and she said, "Okay, good." And then she told me she was getting bracelets put on her teeth. "You mean braces," I told her. "No," she said. "Bracelets, they are a special kind of braces. They're jewelry." "Oh," I said. I knew that. But I didn't, okay? Fine. And here is what Margaret looks like now with her hair all colored. You can see she kind of drew lines on her forehead. Not sure if that's an improvement. Later that night, when I was just at the hard part of falling asleep, which is lying in the dark, trying not to think about pointy things, I heard the phone ring. My dad said, "Hi, Susan," which is Margaret's mother's name. And then he didn't say anything for a long time. Then he said, "Now, Susan, let's just look at this calmly." And then he didn't say anything for another long time. And then he said, "I'm sorry," 7 times, which is 2 more times than he said it after he told my mother he thought her overalls were getting a little snug. Next, I heard him go into my brother's room where my mom was putting broccoli to bed to say goodnight to him. Now she's calling him broccoli instead of spinach. Then I heard my parents whispering together as they walked down the hall to my room. And I thought this would be an ideal time to practice pretending to be asleep. I could feel them standing in my doorway, probably thinking, "This hard one is a lot more trouble than the easy one." Then my dad said, "I really think Clementine was just trying to help her. Margaret wanted hair like Clementine's. You know, she's always been a little jealous." That was the craziest thing I'd ever heard, because Margaret was perfect. But I couldn't tell them this because an important part of pretending to be asleep is not talking. And here is a picture of Clementine pretending to be asleep and her parents looking at her. That's where we're going to stop our story today. We will continue with chapters 3 and 4 next Friday. What do you think? I told you Clementine is mischievous. But she got into the trouble because she was helping her friend. Sometimes when your friends ask for help, you need to think it through, or you could end up getting in trouble too, right? Well, that was fun. Now it's time to spread some joy, because even though we may not do a craft at our chapter book story times, there's always time to spread some joy. Right, Joy? Let's do it. So let's see how we're going to spread some joy today. What does it say? Oh boy. Tell a joke to make someone laugh. Oh boy. I have to come up with a joke? Let's see. What do you get? Oh, I know. How can you tell an elephant has been in your refrigerator? How can you tell an elephant has been in your refrigerator? Because there's a footprint in the Jell-O. Ha ha! I like it. What do you think? Was that funny? All right. Well, telling a joke is a great way to spread some joy. It can make you laugh and it can make your family laugh. So think of a joke. If you want to share it with me, put it in the comments. Go spread some joy. All right, don't forget, next week we will have chapters 3 and 4 of Clementine. Until then, boys and girls, have a great weekend and keep spreading your joy.